Because we're sitting here, 28th of July. We've brought in Kota Takai, who's not even going on the tour. Well, I don't know what's going on there. They're saying he's nursing an injury or something, but yeah, I just don't know. Which looks like Luka Vuskovic is ahead of him anyway at this moment in time. And then you've got Mohamed Kudus, who I think everyone can agree is a really good signing for us. But it just seems as though at this moment in time, sitting here at the end of July with just over a month left to go of this transfer window, has there been any change? Like, it doesn't look like there's been any change. At this moment of the Ange Postecoglou era, we'd have brought in Vicario, a really, position of need at that point in time to replace Hugo Lloris. We brought in James Maddison as well, which are kind of like a marquee signing at that point. But we're sitting here and just Mohamed Kudus. Like, we all got excited when the Gibbs-White stuff came out, and it hasn't happened for all the reasons that we know. But it just stinks as the same old problems at Tottenham, doesn't it?
It does, and obviously Morgan Gibbs-White, I am still devastated. Absolutely devastated that didn't go through. And obviously I got very, very excited. I foolishly believed that we'd get this done when it went to the out of our hands kind of Premier League battle. I was supremely confident, never wavered, because I love that player so much and wanted it to happen. And then obviously, for whatever reason, it looks like we've been used as a stocking horse, as a patsy, as a bargaining chip to get the contract, or did Morgan Gibbs-White want to come but didn't do enough, or whatever happens, we've just been left as the kind of middleman. Like we're just we need to get a player out the door, or an agent wants to get his wages. Oh, let's just use Tottenham, and then we'll come and swoop in and sort it out. I'm heartbroken.
What do you think? What do you think's happened? Do you think that Morgan Gibbs-White has used Spurs to get a new contract here? Do you think that's what's happened?
I you know what? I just don't know. There rumours came out that we didn't hit all the criteria in whether that's just hot air. But you know what? And I said it. I've got to take it with a. I've got to take some accountability for what I thought. And do you know what? We got played. We got played. Marinakis showed it as well with Marinakis, and fair play to him as the Forest chairman, doing what we want. He's saying this is a sign of intent. Don't mess with us. I'd love to hear that we're moving with it intent. And the guy that used to be the biggest bully in the yard, the biggest shark in the ocean, is being shown that you can't mess with us anymore, or you can't do your. Because we'll play with you. He's now become the goldfish bowl, goldfish in a goldfish bowl, just swimming in circles. I will say I don't think Tottenham did anything wrong. I don't think it. But could we, if these release fee conditions weren't met, could Spurs have been right? Here's the extra 5-10 million and cut short this contract. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White had other things in his life. And fair play. Obviously, no one wants to hear about high-risk pregnancies. And fair play to him. He's gone out to Forest. Obviously, I will say the contract release video was one of the most strangest videos I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable. But it was a warning shot.
You mean the hostage video? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, as everyone's saying, the hostage video. It was a bizarre video. But do you know what? Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace and teams like Brighton are showing now that unless you pay the money, you're not getting the player. We won't stand for these bully tactics, or you think you can out-negotiate us. And Marinakis was true to his word. Whether we like it or not, he was true to his word. He ain't leaving. And do you know what? When Harry Kane left our football club, would we have loved to have seen our owner fight for a player like he did? Absolutely. Absolutely. Forest have played a blinder. They've got their player on a new contract. He's got a bumper pay packet, and we've wasted 2 to 3 weeks trying to get this deal done.
But everyone goes on about Spurs meeting the release clause and everything like that. But then there's reports that came out yesterday that said, well, we might have offered the amount of the release clause, but we didn't hit what the actual release clause was, and all kind of a fine print in it, and about payment terms and all this kind of stuff. So if you don't do that, and Marinakis wants to keep the player, he's well within his right to keep the player, isn't he? if we want the player and we were really serious about getting him and we wanted to hit this release clause, then you got to go to the payment terms and all the terms that they want and what's in the contract. And we didn't do that.
Correct. If those rumours are correct, obviously everything came out that we were led to believe, and we're all talking about, not just YouTubers, but people in the chat, just people that don't even watch YouTube, just Spurs fans or football fans, were like, well, if the release fee has been met, why isn't it done? What they haven't got a leg to stand on. And then obviously we hear yesterday that certain criteria wasn't met. I think what has to be done is like the Bosman ruling, where that made such a big change in football. And I don't just say this because of what's happened here, but I think there needs to be look into transfers and the way they get done by the Premier. But maybe FIFA, UEFA, I don't know if they have jurisdiction, but maybe the Premier League, like Spain, people in Spain, apparently everyone's got a release fee. I'm not saying that should happen, but maybe the transfer rules are a little bit outdated for where we are now and how football has changed and how heavily agents get involved and the way that transfers are conducted, going to the agent and the player first before. Maybe there needs to be an overview on transfers. And I mean that for the Premier League wide. And maybe this deal has made me feel a bit more like that, but it just seems outdated now, doesn't it?
Yeah. No, it does for sure. But look, we got to move on. Morgan Gibbs-White ain't coming. Let's put him in the back of our minds now. And we got to move on and we got to act quick. Like, we've gone out to the tour and we've got, a lot of players out there. But when you look at it, really, we got no left back apart from Ben Davis that have gone on this tour. A doggy injured once again. Injuries starting to mount up. A doggy, Kota Takai, Manuel Solomon, Radu Dragoshin, Kulusevski, and Brian Hill. But I mean, Brian Hill doesn't really count, but all those players have all been left home nursing injuries. Got Mikey Moore, Devine, and Scarlett have all stayed back to focus on finding opportunities elsewhere in terms of loan moves. So, I mean, yes, I know it's just a pre-season tour, but the squad going out there don't look great, does it?
It doesn't. And saying the truth, I didn't know about the Takai news that you said just a minute before. But what we've got to remember as well with Takai is he's come straight from the Japanese league. He hasn't had a moment stop. Like, obviously, our players have just come back from pre-season, had a rest, had everything. He's come straight in. I don't know if Spurs are going to give him time off before he literally comes in. Well, I don't mean time off. He's been training. But, I mean, ease him in because he's just come straight in from Japan without a break. It doesn't look good, does it? Well, springboard for success. Words used. We're going to use this. I will say, when you go on tour, maybe old school or whatever, this is the time, this away trip, the bonding off the pitch, but this is where you want your players in. So they have pre-season. The whole point of pre-season is to get yourself up to the standards the coach, manager, whatever, wants you to be at, to bond with your teams, to understand and build those relationships, and then start playing together, ready for the onslaught of the Premier League, where we're just here again waiting, aren't we? Yeah. Pre-season, once we come back, is pretty much done. Mm-hmm. We've got the Super Cup, and then it's go time. So all that time. Remember how Pochettino used to say, I want my players in early. Mourinho and all the other big clubs around us, and they try and get their players in before, so they have a bit of pre-season with this team. And we're here, like you said, with the players you mentioned.
And it's like destiny's out, right? So that means that it's very unlikely he's probably going to make the start of the season because he's not even going to have pre-season behind him. So for the Super Cup, you're probably looking at Jed Spence left back, Pedro Porro right back, no cover whatsoever on the bench for those positions. Maybe an Archie Gray can fill in that right back cover if we really need. But no one's talking about bringing in a fullback, but actually it's our weakest position on the pitch right now. Yeah. You're looking at the potential of Sonny going, need a big replacement for him. We looked like we were intent on bringing in Morgan Gibbs-White. Was that just an opportunity in the market that presented to us, or was it a position that Frank really wants to fill? You've got the number 6 position as well, which, we've been told that we're going to go big on and bring an experienced player. We're linked with the likes of Paulinho, Douglas Luiz, Adam Wharton, and them lot. Like, is there enough time to get all this business done? Not only for the incomings, But right at this current moment in time, we're 9 players over the threshold for the UEFA numbers for the Champions League squad next year. That means every other player adds another one to that list. So it's just like, I don't understand how we're going to be ready for the season come 13th of August when we're playing PSG, or 14th, whenever it may be.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with this as well is we are absolutely shambolic at getting players out of this football club. Like, awful. Terrible. If you look, apart from like the big players like your Harry Kanes that leave for we can't get players out the door. Whether it's no one wants them, whether the fee's too high, whatever it may be, we just cannot get them out the door, or they're on a contract where the other club can't match it, and we have real issues with getting players out the door. Real problems. And like you said, fullback, we desperately need one. We desperately need one. We don't know what's happened to Destiny said an ankle. It was his ankle that knocked him out for 4 months last year, wasn't it? At the end of his first season. So let's just hope that's not a big one. It is a problem because, like you said, it's Jed Spence that's going to have to cover if Porro goes down, if Jed goes down. If Destiny goes down. Like I said, then you're looking at Archie Gray to play out of position again. And we're going into the Champions League. It's not very. Teams will look at us and say, "Look at this squad." I mean, even the front line right now doesn't tell Solanke Johnson or whatever way you want to do it. Isn't threatening in the Champions League, really, is it? For most teams.
You got Kudus there. I don't think Kudus.
No, sorry, my bad, Kudus. Yeah, Kudus is there, so let's put that there. But there's just a lot of work to do, and the thing is, there is time to do it. But Spurs are working one deal at a time, aren't they? And it's taking a while to get these deals done. We're getting to the times where we need to have lots of irons in the fire and getting them done.
Yeah, and I just don't know, man. I just don't know if we're going to get all the business done that we want to get done. I mean, when we got the two here we goes for Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White in the space of 24 hours, it kind of like, wow, Spurs have got this investment, we're changing, we're going big, we're bringing in Premier League proven players. But now it's just like Morgan Gibbs-White's fallen away, and it just feels like we've just wasted so much time during this transfer window. 3 weeks on Gibbs-White, a transfer that's not going to happen. And it's just, we're so far in. You look at the top 4 is getting further and further and further away from us. Not that I thought we could get top 4 this season anyway, but you want to build something that you can get closer and closer to them as you can progress. But I still feel, you'll probably disagree with me on this, but I still feel that we can rival Newcastle, Isaac-less Newcastle, and an Aston Villa to 5th place.
Yeah, I mean, well, I before we go, well, what we've done is, we're wasting this time. We've got to remember, Billy T put a tweet out, and I agree with Billy T. So 2 weeks of the season to sack Ange. Whether the people want to agree, it's right. 2 weeks of the transfer window to sack Ange. That's not what we're talking about here. Then it took 2 weeks to get Frank over the line. Then it took 2 weeks with Gibbs-White. That's 6 weeks of the window. Just dealing with those 3 issues, which could have been dealt with trying to get targets through the door. I'm still not where you are, rivaling 5th. I am still at 8th and upwards. The one thing, and like I said, I will remain positive the whole year, is Thomas Frank and his coaching staff. And I do believe he will develop a lot of these players. They will progress from last season. Where we can say players stagnated last season, a majority that didn't really progress, apart from obviously your Lucas Bergvals, your other ones that came in at the window and new to Spurs. I expect to see players progress a lot and adapt to the style that Thomas Frank and Justin Congreen will ask them to play. So I am going to remain positive on what I think Thomas Frank can do. I am going to remain positive on what I think the assistant manager and the coaching staff are going to do. And the progress of players, that's not going to change. But I think at the moment where we stand, 5th for me is just a little, especially with 4 competitions, maybe just a little bit too far right now. But come the end of the window, we could see, like, you sign any of these players that we mentioned in the update, Rodrigo, then it goes up. Then it goes up because there's quality players out the door, replenishments. I still remain at 8th right now. But I do agree, Thomas Frank I've got absolute nothing, 100% faith, confidence in that he will develop these players and play at a standard they will be able to play at. And like I said, when I came on and spoke to you and Simeon yesterday, not yesterday, after Wickham, and I said it after Luton as well on in chats and whatever. Pre-season, the results been absolutely nothing. People look at one day Ramos's pre-season where we absolutely obliterated teams. Then look what happened. This is all about the fitness, getting used to the system, and being ready. Obviously, the career games in Korea are a bit more serious because we're getting closer to the kickoff. But the results mean nothing to me in pre-season. It's all about the performance.
Apart from Thursday, mate. It does mean on Thursday, mate.
Thursday, yeah. I mean,
it's never a friendly against them lot, I'll tell you that.
There could be a Spurs YouTube 11 versus a Filth YouTube 11, and that's then you win it. There's no drawing or losing that is acceptable to that lot. So that game will mean a lot. But you got to remember, when we go there on Thursday, or when we're there, he will start playing more of his first team together, haven't we? These 3 games, they have been very, apart from the first half at Luton, it was a very strong team, strong team. But they're just getting into the swing of things. So Korea will tell a lot. South Korea tour will tell a lot. But the pre-season, the performances really aren't concerning me, or should they? And we're going to have to see, aren't we? But I do, like you said, have faith that Frank will get us flying up the table.
How many signings do you think? Well, actually, let me just go on that point a little bit, because you said you're looking at 8th right now. You think Spurs are going to finish 8th, right? So who are the 3 teams that are going to finish above us and below? Because I think the top 4 is the top 4 probably. You're looking at Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, right? No one's beating them for the top 4, in my opinion. So who is going to finish 5th, 6th, and 7th?
Well, again, this could all change. Well, Newcastle you'd put there, but if they lose Isaac, however you want to pronounce it, then what you got to think about with Newcastle, if Newcastle lose Isaac, could Anthony Gordon and Guimaraes be like, not saying it will happen instantly, but by the end of next season, I think Newcastle will be right up there. I think they will be right up there. So who did you say top 4? Liverpool, Chelsea,
City, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm definitely, obviously Newcastle, let's say 5th. Just trying to think of the league now. Who else is there?
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, listen,
Manchester United,
majorly
Brighton.
Strengthened. I think Aston Villa are a well-oiled machine. So I'll put Newcastle. So let's say 7th. I'll go up 1 position and say 7th. I think Villa and Newcastle, their squad at the moment is better than ours.
The thing is, I disagree with that, because you look at Aston Villa, Rashford, Asensio was so important for them second half of last season. They haven't replaced them. They've gone out the door. Rashford's at Barcelona now. Asensio's gone out to Turkey or wherever he's gone. I think Villa, they're going through their financial issues. It doesn't seem like they can sign players because of PSR or whatever. I think Villa might struggle next season, And I'm looking at Newcastle. Isaac was so important to them, the amount of goals he gets and how he impacts their attacking play. I think they could struggle as well, potentially with Champions League football in there as well. So I'm looking at that 5th place, and I really think it's whoever wants it, it's their fault.
I can see where you are coming from it, but the one thing I will say with Villa is Unai Emery has done a fantastic job there. Unbelievable manager for them, and he seems to get a tune out of them, and they go through certain stages of the season where they're untouchable.
Yeah.
Where they literally just play teams off the park and just go on a run of victories. They've got Martinez in goal, who we know is incredible and one of the best out there. Newcastle, I just think they're very, very strong. Yes, they could lose his. And again, this is the thing. We're going to have to wait till the window shuts to really have this conversation, aren't we?
Yeah, true.
This is the thing. And it's all ifs, buts and maybes. I just look at it and I think Thomas Frank develops players, a lot of them that we have here, and Justin Concrane, like we said. And that's why I'm sticking with Spurs at 8th at the moment. But come the end of the window, that could drastically change for our ingoings and outgoings of others. But I think we finish 8th or up, but 8th would be the minimum.
But I mean, look, we're sitting here like quite frustrated about how the window's gone.
Yeah.
Newcastle fans doing the same. And I know they've brought in Elanga, and that's pretty much it as well. And if you ask me Elanga or Kudus, I'd say Kudus any day of the week. And they're about to lose their star man in terms of Alexander Isak. Fine, we're about to lose Sonny, but I don't think it's the same kettle of fish right now. Isak was like the best number 9 in the Premier League last season. Sonny is on the decline. As much as I love him and as much as I think he can do a job, he can't do a job on the same level as Alexander Isak, in my opinion. And I think Aston Villa as well, their fans will be very frustrated in terms of the way they're going about their business this summer. So I think anyone fifth down or anyone outside the top 4, I think has a good case to finish 5th. And I think with Thomas Frank, in the way you say he likes to develop players and stuff, I think we've got a good chance. I really do. But when you're looking at the rest of a month and a bit to go, how many players, in your opinion, do you actually think that we're going to bring in?
I think we're going to bring in, or I think we should bring in?
That you think we will?
That you think we will? 1. I think it's going to be 3. I think I do think 3. Whether they are of the elite quality of a Rodrigo kind of thing, or it's a Harvey Elliott, or it's even a step below that, or a step above it. I can see 3 players coming in. Whether they are 3 first team walk-ins is another question.
So with the 3, who would you want? Like, what positions are the most of importance right now for the 3 players?
Well, I think, first of all, they might not be the most fashionable, or sorry, I think if, let's just say Sonny is going, because it looks more and more likely that it's not. I think we need a new left back and a left winger. Then we clearly want a midfielder. But do we just go get a 6? And I think we need another striker. So I think we need 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But I think if Sonny goes, we definitely need a left back. Sorry, left winger, 100%. We definitely need a left back regardless. Or another right back, and then Spence becomes the left back, because I think he did well at left back. In fact, I think he did better left back last season than he did right back. And then you look at midfield and striker. I think that left side definitely needs looking at.
Well, that's about 4 or 5 players.
That's what I'm saying. I think we'll bring in 3. I think we need 4 or 5.
Yeah. So out of those 5 positions, which 3 are we going to fill? Because there's been no talk about the left back whatsoever.
Nope. Well, Robinson, there was a little rumour, wasn't there? But I think he's been the only one. And Sirkin.
Yeah. And Walker Peters, who's ended up at West Ham. I think we bring in a 6. I think we bring in a João Palhinha or someone like that. Douglas Luiz. Who do you prefer, by the way? Douglas Luiz or João Palhinha?
If it was a loan, Palhinha. If it was an outright signing, Douglas Luiz.
Yeah, I mean, I'm undecided with it. I think they both bring profiles that we desperately need, but I feel like Douglas Luiz, with his passing ability, I think he might do just a little bit better for us than a João Palhinha. But I'll be very happy with bringing and seeing either of them line up for Spurs next season. So I think we bring in a 6. I think we bring in a left winger if Sonny goes. So that's 2. And I think that might be it. I genuinely... And maybe we bring in like a Harvey Elliott kind of player, younger up-and-coming player, instead of a Morgan Gibbs-White. So I think 2, maybe 3 if we're lucky.
So the reason I also said Palhinha if it's a loan and Douglas Luiz if it's a buy is whether it's 3, you're 2, is that number 6 that extremely vital that we spend a chunk of the wage, the transfer budget filling that, or is it we get a loan in so we got more to spend elsewhere whilst we try and nail down this 6 next season or whatever? Like I said, if it's 2, so you said if it's 2, it'll be a left winger and a 6, you reckon? If it was you, kind of thing.
I'm saying that's what I think we're going to do. Okay,
that's what you think we're going to do, yeah. Then that means, obviously, Richie's going to stay because there's no striker. This is where we are now. I think this is where our really lack of any kind of conviction at trying to get players out this door is coming back to haunt us. Yes, we've got money to spend bringing in, but we're just so bloated, aren't we, as a football club? Sorry, as a squad, that this is an issue. Where can we get money? And if we talk about saying the money we spent on the incomings, if I had said to you, Ben, after winning Europa League, we'll be at July the 28th and we sold £1 million worth of talent, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? You would say, what the hell is going on, wouldn't you?
It's true, but we have got a new manager this summer and he does need to make those decisions for himself. Like, we can't just sit here and start selling players willy-nilly, can we? Because he needs to get the players on the training ground, see them what they're like in these pre-season friendlies as well. Like, was it always going to be like this summer with the new manager coming in? Because he needs time to make his own decisions.
He needs time to make his decisions. I totally agree with that. But the way I look at it, Thomas Frank has been in the Premier League for 4 years.
Yeah.
He's seen these players, whether it had been their career solely at Tottenham or we've brought the other teams. He knows his system. Yeah. He knows what he's going to do at Tottenham. So he should know, out of all that squad, there's players I'd like to see if they can fit there. But then he would have seen players who would have been like, I just don't see how they fit in, and I may need to get them out to get players in. So if it had been someone from a foreign league that we'd brought in and they weren't used to the Premier League and only see, then I totally get that. Let them see.
But I'm not talking about incomings. I'm talking about just the players.
No,
that
I'm talking
are there.
about the outgoings.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about the outgoings. I'm talking about forget he wants to look at them to sit. I'm talking about getting them out. There are players, I'm sure, that he said he's got a dossier of all the players that he'd been monitoring. So you'd think he'd have out of the inflated squad that we have of a few that just aren't going to make the cut. And a few, I agree, that he'd want to see if they can fit and mould into a system he wants to play. But he should have known, like we said, he was given assurances. He would know players he wants to get out. But like I said, whatever Frank does, I'm supporting it.
Look, maybe he would have had an idea of players that he wants to keep, and I think he has an idea for sure of, the top players in the squad and the ones that he wants to keep. But surely there's only so much you can know a player from outside, but it's a completely different kettle of fish when you see them inside, you see their personalities, you see them in training. So there is that kind of element to it as well. Like, you can have files on a player and about what they do on the pitch, but when you see them with your own eyes and the personal interaction and everything like that on the training pitch, your opinions can change, can't it?
100%. 100%. But like I said, this is where, with such an inflated squad, we need to be decisive. Obviously, with the time we've got till the window closes. But like I said, hopefully he'll get a lot more answers in South Korea, sorry. He'll get a lot more answers on tour. And hopefully he will be filtering this news back to Lange, to Paratici, whoever is doing this, and they can start acting accordingly on both the outgoings and the incomings.
But I think there's one thing for certain. It just seems as though once again, we're going to go into this season not ready for the season. That's what it feels like in terms of having the squad that he wants to go into the season with.
Yeah,
we'll be scrambling around. We're going to be scrambling around for players in the last week of the window again.
But the thing is, we could be scrambling and pull off we could pull off a masterstroke. We could. But based on the evidence we have over the years, that's highly unlikely. Like I said, we went in last season with Dominic Solanke as the guaranteed only first team assured, guaranteed. And right now we're sitting here with Kudus.
Yeah.
I think all of us don't count Danso and Telenik because they were kind of done. And I'm a huge fan of Kevin Danso. Huge. I mean, we look at that with that deal. A lot of us or a lot of fans were going, oh my God, it's a Wolves wannabe. Why are we taking players from Wolves? I remember doing the update when it broke for you guys. He's a great find. He is a great find. He is a proper defender. I think, is going to be much improved. Whether that's good enough, I mean, at Luton, one of the positives, he's very good at set pieces or the corners. His corners have got. He needs to improve. There's no doubt about it. And if we lose Son and he becomes the number one left winger, then it's a problem. If he's here and he gets time to develop or is playing more centrally, fine. But like we said, I think Frank will get a tune out of him. I think he's one of the players that will be one of the biggest improvers, or we'll see the biggest improvements, sorry, let's use English correctly, under Thomas Frank, and we'll start seeing this week.
You look at Ange Postecoglou's first summer, by the end of it, how many players did we have that improved the first 11 straight away? So we had Vicario, Maddison, Destiny, Van der Ven, and Brennan Johnson. 5 players already that came straight into the first 11.
Yeah, you could add Manor Solomon in that as well until he got his injury.
Yeah, Manor as well. But I mean, Manor came in as a left winger where we had Sonny. I mean, Sonny played up front. He played up front. He played up front for the for that season.
Yeah, you're right.
But I'll stick it to just the 5 players. But I can't see us getting 5 players that are going to improve the first 11. I can't even see us getting 3 that improve the first 11. So I think it is worrying in terms of the state of the transfer window, just because what we thought it was going to be 3 weeks ago to what it is looking like it's going to be right now. There is still some time that we can salvage it. So they better be working high and hard behind those closed doors to get us some signings in, because we desperately need it. And I don't want to hear all the excuses about, oh yeah, but we have to sell to buy and all this because of the UEFA numbers and because of the Champions League numbers. You get a squad ready. You get a squad ready that you can fight on all fronts. And if you have to make some hard decisions about leaving some players out the Champions League squad, then you go and leave some players out the Champions League squad. You know what I mean? You don't make it hinder. You don't make it hinder the season upcoming and the first season for Thomas Frank. Just get the business done, and then everything will sort itself out.
I think as well, Ben, what we got to look at when we were talking about, especially when Gibbs-White came about, when it all broke that he was signing, all the news broke once again, like it does every window, that £300 million is coming into this club. ENIC are putting £120 million in. It's all going to get announced imminently. We're going to get this done, and then we're going to start seeing some big players coming in. Well, I still honestly, I've never been more confident in these kind of investment talks than I have this. I just think that, but it doesn't seem to be coming during this window. It'll probably get announced after the window, which is, you'd rather it got announced before the window opens. Yes, other clubs would know we have money, but I still believe there is something in that naming rights deal. But we were all kind of getting taken in with like the Antonio Conte, with 150 mil, weren't we? We're like, right, who's next? Who are we going to buy? Where are we shopping? So that's when you're looking at transfers. It's like, what is our budget right now? Do we, in all honesty, do we need to sell to buy because this investment isn't coming in? And ENIC aren't going to put in whatever. Mate, there's so
I don't think we do. I think it's all bollocks about selling to buy. We don't need to sell to buy. We really don't.
What were the numbers we create?
The only reason we need to sell to buy is because we're oversubscribed for the Champions League numbers. That's the only sell to buy thing here at this football club. It's nothing to do with money, in my opinion.
I hope so. I mean, with the figures that we're earning and turning over, obviously we've got to pay the debt off.
Yeah.
And all the hot air and lip service we get from the hierarchy. You would think now that money is an issue, especially when you were going to put 60 down on Morgan Gibbs-White, and you're talking about £90 million or whatever it may be for Rodrigo and all these others. Just like we were when we were going for Lautaro Martinez, and that money disappeared. We had that money. Where did that go? So
the list goes on, Brian. Lautaro Martinez, Dybala, this one, that one. You know,
exactly.
We always put in these monster bids, and then suddenly we just don't have a pot to piss in.
Yeah. So we'll see that. Well, with this takeover talk or investment with naming rights, one thing's for sure: for the next 5 weeks, there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, and all will be revealed by the time this window shuts in 5 weeks. Yeah. And then everyone can assess. But right now, we need to strengthen. We need to get players out, and let's just hope we're doing so quickly.
Yeah. Look, it is frustrating. It is frustrating at this moment in time, not going to lie. But I am still sitting here very much looking forward to the season. Still think we can have a good season. And yeah, I'm well on the Thomas Frank train, and I think he can bring a nice consistent season for us this season, whether it be finishing 5th, 6th. I think 5th or 6th would be a brilliant season for us next season in Frank's first year, with a nice few little decent cup runs in there. So it's not all a doom and gloom. It feels that way because of the way the Morgan Gibbs-White situation panned out. But we have to, again, be patient, see what we can deliver in this transfer window, and then we can all assess it properly at the end of it on the 1st of September. But some big games to come until then. We've got these preseason games, you know, the Arsenal coming up next on Thursday, Newcastle, come back for Bayern Munich, and then very quickly we got that Super Cup out in Udine against PSG, and then it all starts again. So look, we'll see what happens. Both worrying and exciting times all at the same time. But Brian, thank you very much for joining me today. Everyone, please do and smash that subscribe button, not only here on We Are Tottenham TV, but also on Brian's channel, Tottenham on Tour. So close to hitting that 10K marker. I think, what, 250 odd away. So look, we've got about, what have we got? We've got 1,600 people here in the live chat. Just a small percentage of you need to go over there right now and smash that subscribe button and get him to 10K by the end of tonight. That's it.
End of tonight, end of the week, before the filth, whatever. But I'm sure with the residency this week, we can get there. And anyone that does subscribe or is subscribed already, thank you. And if you do subscribe, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the family. Very, very close here with We Are Tottenham TV, the mothership. And we're doing a lot of content at the moment, and you'll be enjoying the content if you do come and join us.
Malware says Daigle's shirt is worth 214 likes alone. So
yeah, I've gone bright. I've gone. It's a baby pig shirt with flamencos on it. Why not?
Bring it on, mate. Bring it on. But look, that is it from us today. Ethan Wise saying Tottenham on Tour subscribed, like button smashed. Big up to you, Ethan, and big up to every one of you out there. Daigle, I shall see you tomorrow, my friend, and I shall see all of you guys tomorrow as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,